So I can't hang pet bottles all over my body and tell you it's made from pet bottles, right? So when someone comes and say, hey, you're wearing an interesting jacket, what is it made out of? I tell them it's made from trash. This one's made from 28 pet bottles.
A 100 crore turnover business in a small town like Crore. So what made you make that bold decision then?
There are two parts to this question. One is why I did this, and the second one is about what pet bottles can become, including the jacket I'm wearing today.
So Ecoline's jackets have been worn by many VIPs and celebrities, and we also heard earlier that even our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji had worn your jacket. So how was the feeling to see him sport your jackets?
Back to Karur from Bangalore. I called my team and we're just exchanging, our happiness with each other. Right from the security to the CEO, everyone was, exchanging happiness. And he said, he has worn in the Rajya Sabha, please check the television. So I immediately switched on YouTube, checked Rajya Sabha, I saw him wear it. And we were stunned, we were speechless. As soon as I came back, everyone in my class were like thinking, this guy is a nerd, he's probably going to be, a professor, or he's probably going to be something in the tech domain. But this movie changed my life. And that's when I thought my actual calling is entrepreneurship. My boss in TCS, when I gave him my resignation letter, he asked me, why are you resigning? You're one of the top performers and we want you to be abroad. I'm going to give you this package, the lucrative offer that you're referring to. And I asked him, how can I be the CEO of this organization? And he said, I myself don't know if I'm going to be, how can I advise you this? So I said, no, I want to lead an organization. I don't want to be like my friends who all went abroad, studied there and settled there. I want to be in my country.
A warm welcome, Mr. Senthil.
Thank you.
And let's not have a reintroduction because, he introduced himself and you know a lot about him already. So it's very interesting to know more about how a pet bottle, which, like world over people are looking at eradicating usage of pet bottles to save our environment, Mother Earth. So he has given a new dimension to this whole thing called pet bottle waste, which gets into the landfill and creating problems to our lives as well as the environment. Tracking your journey, Mr. Senthil, from giving up a very lucrative offer in the Silicon Valley to building a 100 crore turnover business in a small town like Crore. So what made you make that bold decision then?
There are two parts to this question. One is why I did this, and the second one is about what pet bottles can become, including the jacket I'm wearing today. Actually, my interest towards entrepreneurship happened in a theater called Venkateshwara in Vellore. I think VITians who are from Vellore will know that is the most frequented theater to watch Hindi films. And Guru was running at that time. It was 2007. I'm a big fan of Mani Ratnam. And I went to watch that movie with my friends. Of course, watching the movie, the purpose was the actors in the movie. But then that movie did something to me. I still can't express what it did. I think most of us go through instances in life where you are, impressed or inspired by a particular incident that goes so deep into you that you start becoming that. Up until then, I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. I didn't know anything about business. My father's first business had a very tough time, and I know the debt that the family had to take to support the interest. My mother was overworking. And I had absolutely no calling at all at that time. Up until then, I forgot to mention this in my acceptance speech. I'm very thankful to VIT, the Chancellor and the Vice President, because I got a unique opportunity in my third year in mechanical, and that is to represent India at the World Automotive Conference. This happened in Yokohama, Japan, and VIT fully funded my trip.
That's nice.
For that. And as soon as I came back, everyone in my class were like thinking, this guy is a nerd, he's probably going to be a professor, or he's probably going to be something in the tech domain. But this movie changed my life. And that's when I thought my actual calling is entrepreneurship. I think all of you have experienced the interest that we have in our life from school to college keeps changing. That's how it was with me also. In 6th grade, I wanted to be an oceanographer. And then it just kept changing year after year. And with this movie, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So what will the parents think? The parents will think that he's crazy. He's anyway going to give another dimension. But till now it's been like 18, 19 years. That interest has not changed, thanks to Mani Ratnam and that movie. And that's how I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Coming to your question of PET bottles and what it can become and why I chose that, leaving the lucrative offers that I had. PET bottles are the most recycled plastic amongst all the polymer chains that you find. And PET bottles have a unique characteristic of being two forms. One is for packaging into the liquids that you see, the water and CSD and all that. Two is for making it into polyester. Polyester, as you know, is an alternative to cotton. How you make the PET bottle into polyester is what we are very good at. And that is what we developed as technology from 2008 until now. So when you make it into polyester, the tough part of recycling is done. Once it is polyester, it can be made into any garments. It's not just garments, we are also into carpets, non-woven carpets. We are the largest suppliers to the automobile industry. We don't say that outside because it's business to business, it's not a consumer business, but one of our largest business is the automotive industry, where we sell our fibers for the carpets, the headliners. Next time you get into a car, when you touch the headliner and the carpet, that has got our company's fiber in it. So it had multiple opportunities. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My boss in TCS, when I gave him my resignation letter, he asked me, why are you resigning? You're one of the top performers and we want you to be abroad. I'm going to give you this package, the lucrative offer that you're referring to. And I asked him, how can I be the CEO of this organization? And he said, I myself don't know if I'm going to be, how can I advise you this? So I said, no, I want to lead an organization. I don't want to be like my friends who all went abroad, studied there and settled there. I want to be in my country. It's okay if I don't have a master's from UK or US, it's fine. But then still, I think I will reach a position where I will be able to give jobs. And I think entrepreneurship is also a social exercise. The kind of benefits that you provide to the society is immeasurable. It's only after the government that, entrepreneurs are the ones who actually develop the society. And that was very empowering. And knowing all of this, I thought, no job can equal being an entrepreneur. Of course, you take risk. You will have to bet your life on it. I was prepared to do that, and I'm very lucky that my family supported me in that. Both my parents were worried. My father actually didn't want me to be in this business. Usually, parents want to take it up, but then since it was recycling, he wanted me to settle in a very good place. He wanted me to be abroad. But then I thought, that's not what I'm meant for. I took up the work that he was doing, the incredible work that he was doing, and then I tried to, push it further. My mother was very supportive, and after my marriage, I have to say this, very rarely you have spouses who support you when you take a risky, option in life. My wife, Shree, has been an incredible support, and I'm here because of her support as well. So it's the family which was supporting us.
So to add to that earlier question, if you can answer in one line, your father, K. Sankar, has always been passionate for sustainable businesses, even decades ago when things like recycling wasn't widely known. So how convinced were you in the business he was doing in recycling? So that catapulted you into what you are today.
So 2010-11 is when I was thinking of quitting my job, and I went to Crore. There was something about the place also which I need to mention. Crore, as you know, is part of the Kongu region. How many of you know Kongu region? Coimbatore to Crore. Yeah. So Kongu region is a very entrepreneurial place. There is a saying that if you surround yourself with people who are of your interest, you very often become that. In Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, you'll see people who are in corporate companies, working, and the lifestyle is different, the thought process is different, the ambition is different, aspirations are different. But in that region, you'll find a lot of people who are wanting to be entrepreneurs, wanting to create enterprises, financial discipline, attention to detail, like what Mr. Srivatsam was talking about. All of this I found there. And it was highly educating. I felt that it was 3 times an MBA. So that was one major reason. The second thing was the fact that sustainability was a buzzword at that time. Today, it is something that's become like the norm. In any industry, you talk about sustainability. So, 17 years ago, it was a buzzword. And I think you should always get into something that's going to be the next wave. No point in inventing a computer today because it was done in 1960s. This is the era of sustainability, and that's what I sensed. And I thought it's good to take it up. The promise was what polyester can become. PET bottles becoming polyester was a huge leap of faith for us. You know, a family of professionals investing so much of money in a factory, huge leap of faith. But once we reached that point, the forward integration opportunities were immense. And that's what made me convinced in taking this as my life and move forward.
So how did Sri Renga Polymers evolve over the years? Initially making manufacturing plastic flakes to making polyester fiber and creating its own clothing line, Ecoline.
So we started as a recycler of PET bottles into a product called hot wash flakes. Why we call flakes? Because it looks like cornflakes. So the PET bottles come to us from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and now even from Telangana, and of course Pondicherry. These bottles are sorted. So we remove the caps, we remove the wrappers, and the clear plastic is what can become polyester. So that we recycle into flakes in a 10-stage recycling process. That we were doing from 2008 till 2010. And in 2010, we scaled it up 1.5 times. Then we started to make color master batches, which is our USP. I'd like to talk about it. We started making color master batches in 2011-12. And 2014 is when we took that leap of faith, which is into manufacturing polyester fibers from PET bottles, which had competitors like Reliance Industries. In South, there are not many people who are doing this job. So we decided to take that, we pledged our family's assets, got into that industry, and successfully, ran it. We went through a lot of financial struggles in that period, but then somehow we were able to escape through and, come out successful. In 2018-19, we started to manufacture yarns, and parallelly, we got into garment manufacturing. So polyester fiber is the raw material of the textile value chain, just like cotton, viscose, wool, and so on and so forth. And garment is on the other side of the spectrum of the value chain. So when we invested in, the two ends of the spectrum, we understood the value chain really well. And we decided that we should be vertically integrated. That is, we should do every step of the way. And then we started making garments from our own fibers. Here is where I mentioned about master batches. Most of you will know cotton that occurs, it's an agricultural produce. So when it comes out, it does not come out colored. It is called gray or bare color or natural white. It has to be dyed and it has to be processed. There's a huge industry in Tirupur which is doing that. Unfortunately, the byproduct of that process is pollution. Huge amount of water pollution. The technology we use to color these fabrics is called dope dyed technology. And this dope dyed technology uses master batches where the color is impregnated in the matrix of the fiber. It's something that's very unique. You don't find it outside, and that's our unique selling proposition. Our dyeing technology, our coloring technology does not use a single drop of water. It is the most water saving process and the most energy saving process. This is what gives us the uniqueness. In 2020-21, during the onset of COVID, all of us were locked in our homes and we were wondering what to do. I was thinking, why don't we convert the garments we make from PET bottles into a brand? There was no brand which was focused on sustainability. Okay, and sustainability was something that was picking up. The problem with all of you, in your choices, I'm referring to consumers, not in specific you. You buy your products, but you rarely think about the impact it has on the planet. And that's the mind change that we wanted to do with Ecoline. Ecoline wanted to promote conscious consumerism. So when you buy a product like this, you look at price, you look at look and feel, all of those things. But you don't look at the impact it has on the planet. And we put that in our brand tag. We tell you how much of CO2 and water you have saved, how much of a planet warrior you are. And that's how Ecoline was born. Today we're doing close to 150 styles. We have close to 8,000 SKUs. We're online in ecolineclothing.com. And we're very soon also going to take it overseas because we got fantastic response. So from bottle to brand, all in one place, Ecoline is India's first fully sustainable fashion brand.
That's great to know. So it would have been an to say how difficult was it, when you introduce a new product like this, and how difficult was it to educate the consumers or your customers that you are producing a product from recycled PET bottles?
So naturally, when trash becomes something like this, people will start asking you questions like, does it do anything to the skin? Does it cause any rashes? Is it harmful and all that? So I invite all of those people to my factory. I say, you come to my factory, see what we're doing. Our temperatures are at 300 degrees Celsius. No bacteria or virus can withstand that temperature. Our recycling process is world-renowned, globally accepted practice. The point is how we make polyester from PET bottles. That's where the technology is. When you make it into polyester, you can make it into any product. So when people see the garment I'm wearing, the jacket that I'm wearing, I'll have to tell them it's made from PET bottles. And that's how good our technology is.
So Mr. Senthil always wears his products wherever he goes so that people get to see what his products are. So the jacket he's wearing is from his brand.
So I can't hang PET bottles all over my body and tell you it's made from PET bottles, right? So when someone comes and say, hey, you're wearing an interesting jacket, what is it made out of? I tell them it's made from trash. This one's made from 28 PET bottles. So the point is about how we make it into polyester. So the concept of the brand is to educate about sustainability. Tell people that this is something that you should look at as a consumer choice. And I think so far the Gen Z, I think most of you are the Gen Z category. You are the ones who are doing the maximum, branding for us. Because all of you are worried about your future, right? You all think that you're entering into a world which is already 1.5 degrees above median. And I think with the way we are going, we'll go well above 2 degrees and then we'll not have a world at all. And you guys will be the most affected. We are a little older. So the Gen Zs are the one who are giving us enormous response. They are the ones who love our brand a lot. So I've been very thankful with the journey so far, and I think the best is yet to come.
So there's been this hue and cry about putting a stop to single-use plastics and the PET bottles as such, because there was a campaign a couple of years ago to stop water in the plastic bottles. So what is your view on that, since you have been in recycling the PET bottles?
I'm against it.
Yeah, I know.
So single-use plastic is a wonderful thing. Plastic is a wonderful thing. It's just that we don't know how to manage it. We don't know how to reuse it, how to recycle it. We've found a way to do it. And with this brand, we're telling the world how we're doing it. And I think every polymer will find its own way. So I think it's the management. Here, the government also plays an important role in terms of how we source segregate the waste. How many of you actually separate waste at home?
All of us do, yeah.
Great. So that's fantastic. That is what a recycler needs. If you segregate your waste and give it to your corporation, it will be easier for them to give it to recyclers like us. That's the challenge today. So if you are able to source segregate, responsibly use your plastic, responsibly dispose it, single-use plastics does not have to be banned at all. It's a wonderful product. We just don't know how to use it.
You also have an interesting buyback program for your garments. Can you just educate the crowd here on
So we have a program which is only the 6th in the world. It's called EcoCycle. Once you use your garments, you usually throw it. But with Ecoline, with this initiative called EcoCycle, you can give it back to us. We will not buy it back because you're giving it back because you care for the environment. You can give it back to us and we will recycle it again into another garment. And this is only the 6th brand in the world to do this after likes of Patagonia and Zara and so on and so forth. So very proud that that initiative also gained a lot of traction.
So Ecoline's jackets have been worn by many VIPs and celebrities, and we also heard earlier that even our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji had worn your jacket. So how was the feeling to see him sport your jackets?
Well, obviously unbelievable. I did say that I still pinch my skin to think whether it really happened or not. So I can tell you how it happened. I'm thankful here to the Indian Oil Corporation. We have a lot of corporate clients, who buy our jackets, who buy our T-shirts. They put their name on it, and we give them, certificates for their ESG reporting. Indian Oil Corporation was sponsoring an event called India Energy Week in Bangalore. They were the prime sponsors, and they wanted to gift Prime Minister Modi, who was the chief guest of the event, something unique. And since they were seeing us, make these products, these Sadri jackets, they were asking, if we can make one for them. We gave them fabrics, which was sent to Prime Minister's office 6 months before the event, and they did their routine checks and verified everything. Came back to us with a lot of technical specification. All of this was done by Indian Oil Corporation, and we were supporting them with data and everything. So the event was in the first week of February, the India Energy Week in Bangalore, when Prime Minister Modi was gifted that jacket with the in a frame by the then Indian Oil Corporation Chairman. Right. Shree Vaidya. And nobody knows what the Prime Minister does. Okay, what he's going to do, whether he's going to wear it or not. We were in that event. We were watching that in a stage like this, sitting in a crowd like yours. Actually, it was bigger. And we were just so happy that our product made in Crore, which is a tier 3 place, has gone to the top man, not just in India, but in the world. With that satisfaction, we just went out of the auditorium. I immediately called my team and I called them for a meeting. We were having a stall in that event, so we finished our job there and then we went back to Crore from Bangalore. I called my team and we just exchanging, our happiness with each other. Right from the security to the CEO, everyone was, exchanging happiness. The fact that this was endorsed by or received by one of the top men in the country. When that meeting was happening, my friend called me and he said, he has won in the Rajya Sabha, please check the television. So I immediately switched on YouTube, checked Rajya Sabha, I saw him wear it. And we were stunned, we were speechless. In half an hour, I think around half an hour to 1 hour, I started getting calls. And people were, asking me, did you make it? So I said, yes, we made it. But it went through Indian Oil Corporation, so we'll have to check. It is so magnanimous of the chairman of Indian Oil Corporation, the then chairman, Mr. Shree Vaidya, and now Mr. Sani, who was so generous to allow the limelight to fall on us, right, which they could have very well prevented. Right. But they didn't do that. And I also learned it was the Prime Minister's team who was scouting for the person who made it. Right. So they reached out to us, and then the news broke open, everyone started to know. And I think I given almost close to 250 to 300 interviews till now, ever since that event happened in 2023. We became famous. So
it's been a game changer sort of
been a game changer. But what was very unique about the Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, which I want to tell the youngsters here, 6 to 8 months back, we got a call from Bhutan. Do you know where Bhutan is? It's a beautiful country. You must all visit that country. They are also one of those rare countries which is carbon positive. They don't emit. No emissions there. It's a very clean environment. So the Prime Minister's office of Bhutan called me and they said the Prime Minister is interested to talk to you. And we were very surprised. Who did this? The Prime Minister of Bhutan, Mr. Dasho Shering Topge, who you might have seen in the AV also, he got on a virtual call with us and he told us something which was just music to our ears. And something that, you hardly find a Prime Minister do. Our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi, when he went to Bhutan to receive one of the highest civilian honors of the country, he was wearing our jacket in the dinner that was hosted by the king, His Majesty the King. And in that event, he called the Prime Minister of Bhutan and he said that this is made from trash PET bottles and it is made by Indian manufacturers down south, you should check them out. And that's all he said. He didn't mention our name, he didn't mention anything. He said, it's done by Indian manufacturers, this is made from trash PET bottles, you should check it out. Immediately his office called us, the Prime Minister of Bhutan got on a virtual call and he said, you come to my country. 3 months later, we met the Prime Minister of Bhutan in his office and he was saying, your Prime Minister is heaping praise about your initiative. I just spoke to him, I told him that I'm going to meet you, but I have a challenge for you. And he said, you'll have to clean up the PET bottles of Bhutan. So we then went into statistics of Bhutan, what it generates and things like that. We went back to him with a report. I don't know if you've seen the costume of the Bhutanese. It's a very unique costume. The men wear a costume called Go and the women wear a costume called Kira. It's a thick woven fabric. And he told us, can you make this from PET bottles? So we analyzed the PET bottles there. We came up with an arrangement. We got the material to Crore. We recycled it and made it into yarns. And we used the handloom weavers of Crore to make the fabric, and now we sent it back to Bhutan. All of this has happened because of our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. He actually marketed us to another Prime Minister and he gave us an opportunity.
That's very
How many
interesting.
people do this?
Let's give a big round of applause. Yeah.
Very, very thankful
Yeah,
to our Prime Minister. And I use this medium to thank him from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah. Okay, lastly, so what is your advice to all those aspiring entrepreneurs sitting here who would want to set up sustainable businesses like recycling plastic or electronic waste, etc.?
I think persistence is key. Mr. Srivatsram also mentioned that if you're passionate about something and you want to do it, just go for it and get it. Okay? There are no shortcuts to success. Hard work is what takes you up there. And if you think it comes easy, it doesn't. It takes a lot of persistence. And when you start your enterprise, make the bets with your money or your father's money. Do not take money from someone else and then put your bet against it. I don't think that makes sense. To many of the startup founders who I talk to, I've invested in close to 35 startups, I tell them, first get to a point where you have confidence about your business actually working, your business model actually working. And then when you need scale, you come to investors like us and we are happy to put money in you. It takes 1,000 days. It's called the valley of death. 1,000 days for a company to mature and to know what to do and what not to do. And to pass that 1,000 days, which is basically living hell, you'll have to have that passion, that persistence, that patience. If you have that, you'll be sitting with her in an interview with me.
I think that's been a great advice to people here who have taken a leaf out of his successful journey. So thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you.
Senthil. Here's wishing Ecoline a great success ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.